Thank you. Our fifth question is for you, Dale. Law enforcement processes reports for prosecution. How are you going to make certain that these reports contain all relevant information and are handled expeditiously?
Dale, excuse me, would you please use your mic? I can barely hear you, and I'm hard of hearing.
I'm sorry, can you hear me
Better?
better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, and this is one of the other themes that I'm focusing my campaign on, which is renewing the partnership with law enforcement. I found in the time that I've been here that there is a serious disconnect between the law enforcement professionals and the DA's office. Too often reports get sent over, they don't get acted on very quickly. If the charges end up not getting filed or getting filed for something other than what the officer in the field thinks they should be charged as, a decision is made to just file the case and that's it. There's just no channel of communication between the investigating agencies and the DA's office. And I think that when I talk about renewing the partnership with law enforcement, what I mean by that is I want these people to know that when they send a report over that I'm going to be their partner in handling that file and prosecuting it. And if I decide that there's not evidence there to pursue it, or if the evidence only supports a lesser charge, I'm going to communicate that to them so that they know. Too often they just get reject letters that just says that, you know, declining in the interest of justice or something along those lines. That's offensive to me. When I was a prosecutor, my boss made it a priority to have a prosecutor available all the time. And even though we're a small office and there's only 5 attorneys, I will make sure that there is an attorney there during all business hours. I will make sure that every officer in the field has my cell phone. If they have a question after hours, it's a 24/7 job, and I'm going to be available for them to answer their questions, to help with a search warrant. They need to have confidence in us that we're going to handle the case properly. I'm going to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, same question?
Thank you. This requires a two-part analysis. The first is on the prosecution aspect. Part of my mission statement says that the DA will be timely in the investigation and prosecution of cases. This is very important for 2 reasons. Number one, obviously, justice delayed can be justice denied. And secondly, if the prosecutor holds on to that case for an extended period of time, say 3 or 4 months, and then finally gets to it, maybe he kept putting the case to the bottom of the stack, and he says, oh no, we need this, this, and this, and he finally sends it over to the investigator, police, to do the job, it's going to be that much more difficult because obviously the officer has gone on to many other things and now he's got to start over and perhaps he can't get that information. So being timely is very important in the prosecution of cases and in the filing of cases. The second part is the officer's responsibility. And training is so important for 2 reasons. Number one, it reinforces what we already know and perhaps we can learn some new skills. And secondly, training is important to learn new material and new skills to do the job better. As a prosecutor, I've reviewed thousands and thousands of police reports, and some of them have been good, some of them have been just okay, and some of them have been bad. Some of the problems is this. Officers forget the 5 whys and the big H. Who, how, what, where, when, and why, and how. And it's very important to get done. So training, I do training, is important. And search warrants is important. To have those done, the officers need to have that training. If the request is done, it will be in writing, it will be polite, it will be no nasty grams, it will be specific as to what's needed, and it will be helpful to the officers to know why. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have 3 questions from the audience. And then, okay, so the first question, we'll start with you, Dale. Who are your working partners as far as the other agencies, and why are they important?
Well, our primary working partners, of course, are our local law enforcement. Crescent City Police, the Delmar Sheriff's Office, Highway Patrol, but also Pelican Bay. These are the primary sources of getting information to us to prosecute. And that's why I am emphasizing the importance of working with them. But additionally, we have other agencies. We have, the Blight Project that we've talked about. There are a lot of abandonment issues and code violations that are handled. They come to us as well. So it's important for us to have open lines of communication and the confidence in all these various referring agencies that we're going to handle their cases properly. In addition, I think that citizens can be very helpful to law enforcement and the DA's office. As good as our men and women in the field are, they can't be everywhere. And I think having an active citizenry that helps in law enforcement is invaluable. And I would want to urge those people in neighborhood watch groups, for example, to be part of the solution as well. Thank you.
Okay, trying to read questions here. Bob, same question for you. I'm going to read it again.
Sure, go ahead.
Who are your working partners as far as the other agencies, and why are they important?
Certainly. The working partners are obviously the sheriff, the police, the highway patrol, the tribe, law enforcement, parks, even fire department investigation and arsons. There are so many allied agencies that become part of the system, and it's necessary for the DA's office to work with everyone. Other allied agencies are obviously, we're finding it works more and more, neighborhood watch, neighborhood preparedness. They provide so much information to the sheriff's department, police department, to help make crimes, to help make cases, obviously. So it's a big job, and it's a task that needs to be done. And as district attorney, I will work with all the agencies to accomplish that task.
Next question. This would be for you, Dale. The business communities suffer economic loss for non-sufficient fund checks and theft. How are you going to assist small business with this?
That's actually one of my campaign points as well, is that bad check program. I know that in the past there has been a bad check program in the county, but it's fallen by the wayside. The district attorney's office has the ability to handle bad check cases as criminal matters. That includes having the ability to recover restitution for victim businesses. And we're a small community, and you see on every street corner businesses are going under all the time, and the impact on writing a bad check to Home Depot is very different than the impact of writing a bad check to a small business. So I think it's important to have a prosecutor who's willing to partner with our local businesses to handle these cases. There is the ability to do that, and the program can actually be funded by the offenders themselves. There's lots of different ways to deal with the check writers, to create education programs for bad check writers. Sometimes people just aren't very good at keeping their books. Sometimes they're intentionally writing bad checks. There's lots of different ways that you can make a condition of having their case released, that they go through these programs and that they make the restitution. That is something that I am going to focus on as well. As for theft, petty theft is something that's very, very, very common here. And the more that people pick up these misdemeanor petty theft charges, they continually get dealt with as misdemeanors. After they have enough prior convictions for misdemeanor petty thefts, they can become felonies. And when people keep going into Safeway and stealing, they need to become dealt with more harshly rather than just the run-of-the-mill misdemeanor disposition. So I think that's important as well.
Thank you. When I was district attorney, I did have a bad check program. In fact, you can go into some businesses and still see on their cash registers a little red tag, bad check, DA Bob Drossel. It's a program. It started out in the victim witness unit, and it was later transferred to a private contractor. And that contractor took all the checks and did the collections and kept a percentage for the work he did. It was a good program, and I don't know why it went by the side. If I become DA, I'll try to get that reinstituted again. Theft is a continual problem in our community, not only for the business community, but obviously for anybody. The burglaries, thefts of anything, it's bad. And as district attorney, I'm going to be aggressive in that arena to take care of business. Thank you.
Okay.